Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, there's something I wanted to talk about. Obviously, we're excited for September 16th. Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin. Hey, no, guys. And it's a good fight. It's a fight that needed to happen. It's a fight that I'm glad is happening, and it'll be a big fight. They're still working on the venue. Golden Boy, just seen on their Instagram. They're still asking people where they want the fight to be held, like what city. And I think they're trying to overall get a pulse before they make a final decision and consider all the offers that they have. Big fight for boxing, and it's a competitive fight, I believe. Now I want to respond to Abel Sanchez, what he had to say regarding Canelo and his ability or inability to hurt Golovkin. And he did an interview with ESPN Deportes, and this is exactly what Abel Sanchez said. He says, and I quote, "If you could not hurt Chavez and Cotto, you will not be able to hurt Gennady Golovkin, who has 400 fights and they've never hurt him. It's good they think they can stop him because that means he'll have the balls to stop and fight him." That's what Abel Sanchez had to say. Obviously, he's responding to Team Canelo. The Reynosos did an interview with ESPN Deportes. They said, "We believe SAUL has the talent and the skill level to stop Golovkin and definitely beat him," right? And Sanchez also went on to say, "Golovkin is going to be very strong. Canelo is going to want to box, but I feel that Golovkin will have a lot for Canelo and he will win. If not, knock him out in the later rounds." So the promotion is already there. I'm sure they'll do the face-off and hopefully HBO 24/7 press tour. That's just icing on the cake. But the fight has been something the public has demanded. And Abel Sanchez also said that in the interview. He said the fight is something that had to happen. If it was not in September, it was going to be next year. How nice they negotiated and made the fight. The pressure was the one that forced them, which I don't know if you can really dispute it. There's a lot of people, you go to Canelo's page, they were calling him a chicken and putting Triple G and stuff. So there was an immense amount of pressure, which Oscar De La Hoya admitted on ESPN First Take. He said there was pressure, but we didn't wait 5-6 years to make it. We still got it done in less than 2. But I agree with Abel Sanchez regarding that. I think the pressure is what helped drove the fight. Kind of like Errol Spence versus Kell Brook. Kell Brook had to fight Errol Spence, otherwise it would look extremely bad if he lost to Golovkin and just jumped to 154 and all of a sudden didn't want to take on his mandatory. And that's the great thing about this age of technology with social media and stuff. It's the fans have more of a voice than before. They can harass fighters. I mean, it's extreme at times, but at the same time, our voice can get heard a lot more. If you're in the 60s and 70s, let's say you wanted somebody to take Muhammad Ali's challenge, how would you voice that? You know what I mean? Would you show up? Would you write a telegraph, a letter? You know what I mean? Call a radio station? Now you could just demand it, and there's people like me and other people who have channels. You can just get on YouTube and make videos, and the media. I mean, the media, a lot of people, they're going to be whatever's hot topics they're going to write about. So if everyone's talking about it, they might be influenced in their articles and they might start talking about it. So that's what really happened. Canelo versus Golovkin, snowball effect. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody wanted it and everybody was requesting it. Now we're getting it. So boxing fans can sit back and wait till September. I want to know from you guys, can Canelo hurt Golovkin? Which is something very interesting to me. I don't agree with Abel Sanchez. I think, this is just my opinion, I think Canelo can hurt. I don't know if he'll stop Golovkin, but I think he can definitely hurt him. And me personally, I don't believe that there's any one man that nobody's punching power can hurt them and all that. I think certain guys have better chins than others. I think certain guys have better poker faces than others. But I don't think there's this indestructible Clark Kent turned Superman type person where no matter what they get hit with, it can't hurt them. Being hurt and being knocked out is two different things. And for Team Golovkin and Golovkin himself to say, "Hey, I got good genetics, I've never been hurt," I can't really believe that, because Kell Brook looked like he hurt him to me. Again, I'm not inside Golovkin's body, pause. So this is just my opinion on it. And the other thing, you could tell kind of with the Kell Brook, when he was getting hit with those uppercuts, Golovkin seemed to get pissed and started going crazy and like really trying to hunt down and just end Kell Brook. But luckily Kell Brook has a good defense. Otherwise he would have got struck with one of those shots, because it appeared that it bothered him that the smaller guy was making a show, you know what I mean, and standing ground and lifting him up with uppercuts and stuff, like bopping his head up. And then he kind of went guns blazing after that point, and then it got too much for Kell Brook. But even the Daniel Jacobs fights, if Golovkin has never been hurt, then to me, why does his identity change when he's in there with an immense puncher? David Lemieux worked behind a jab. That's not a bad thing. You're not supposed to go in there and get bombed out and get knocked out. So I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying if he's a guy that's never been hurt, why does he fight punchers like he has some sense? Curtis Stevens, like, he's still aggressive, but it's not the same as when he's fighting Willie Monroe with 6 knockouts, right? The way he fought Daniel Jacobs, that's why Daniel Jacobs gave him a great fight in his toughest test thus far, because Daniel Jacobs has a big frame, he has heart, and he has power. And Golovkin realized he can't just walk through. That's why in that fight, he was out jabbing Jacobs. He was jabbing, jab, 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 and he has a very good jab because he realizes that the power is there. So that's just my opinion. Canelo, even though he's moving up, I think his accuracy, his size in terms of mass, even though he's the shorter man, his technique, I think he can hurt really anyone at 160, right? I mean, there's different types of power. I also think, this is my opinion, in the Cotto fight, I think Canelo kind of paid him too much respect and carried him. I think he clearly could have stopped Miguel Cotto. That's just my opinion. I picked him. I did the 7 reasons. Picked Canelo to beat Cotto, but I think he really could have stopped him. And I picked him to win via decision. The video's still up on YouTube, so you guys can go check, do your homework. But I picked Canelo to win by a decision. But after actually, so my 7 reasons was 100% right in that particular fight. I said he would win, I think, a unanimous decision, and he did win a decision. So I was correct, but after watching the fight and seeing it, I think he paid him a little bit too much respect, and I think he could have stopped Cotto, because Cotto's not the biggest. Even at 155, he's not the biggest. He's bigger than guys like Floyd Mayweather or Pacquiao, but he's still not huge, you know what I mean? And I think Canelo was just kind of being respectful. He's in there with the legend and didn't want to make mistakes and stuff. But now he has that experience. He just went in there with Chavez Jr. and beat Kirkland and Cotto and fought Floyd. He has a ton of experience at age 26. So my opinion is a little bit different than Abel Sanchez. I do think Canelo can hurt. I don't know if he will stop Golovkin, because Golovkin showed a man-style chin to me. Daniel Jacobs hit him with some stuff. But the thing that's very interesting is there are spots where Jacobs kind of let off the gas, and I don't really see Canelo, his punch variety and what this fight means to him. I think he's a very prideful person, and he has a lot of angst and energy because people were saying he was scared. So I think Canelo's more go for the jugular. He's more pit bull, where Jacobs, he was the first guy to go the distance with Golovkin in 23 fights. So he almost bought into the aura of Golovkin. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't want to press my luck and then get caught with the counter and then mess this up. But now that we've seen a fighter go the distance with him, that whole, he stops everybody in, you know what I mean, double-digit fights, 23, 24 fights or whatever, that's done. People know you can go the distance with somebody now because we've seen it, you know what I mean, in your last fight. So that's just my take on it. But it's a good fight. Canelo, he's going to have to get past that jab. Golovkin has a great jab. He showed that every time he fought a puncher with a name. David Lemieux, Daniel Jacobs. So it's not an easy fight for either. That's why we want to see it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Triple G has ever been hurt? Like I said, I don't believe that there's some guys just no one can hurt. I don't believe that. But let me know if you believe it. And if you think Canelo himself in his second fight in the 160s, if he can hurt Triple G. This is going to be a good one, man. I think this will deliver. And like I said, there's 2 different things. Hurting someone and stopping someone are 2 different things. The other thing is, he said, Cotto, I kind of explained that, but Chavez Jr., he says, oh, if he couldn't hurt Chavez Jr., I think he was hurting Chavez Jr., which was what made him gun shy. If Chavez Jr. was in there with Brian Vera again, you notice even in that fight, Brian Vera was working and active, and he was still, even though he wasn't fighting as much of the minutes of each round, Chavez Jr. was still throwing some. But he seemed extremely timid and gun shy versus Canelo. So to me, that's evident that there was something Canelo was in there doing. Even his dad, Chavez Sr., the great Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., says, I believe my son was afraid of getting knocked out by Canelo, so that's what made him hesitate. So I don't agree with Abel on that either. I think Chavez Jr. just happens to be big, even with the cutting weight and rehydrate. Plus, he was fighting a style that's almost safe because he wasn't throwing enough punches. because he couldn't match Canelo's wits. He couldn't match Canelo's hand speed. So the more he threw fighting like that, the more it left him open. And he was fighting kind of a survival mode fight. His dad's even saying the same thing. So I don't think it was a matter of Canelo couldn't hurt Chavez Jr. He couldn't finish him. But again, Chavez Jr. is a big dude, and he's been stopped once. But to me, it was a mercy stop. They said, "Are you good?" After he got knocked down by Fonfara, and he's like, "No." He's like, "I don't want. It's too much," or he said something like that, like, "I can't keep going," or whatever. He pulled the plug on himself, maybe because in fear of getting stopped, but he quit basically in that fight. So I don't agree with Abel Sanchez in that. I think Canelo definitely has power. Like, I really do think he spared Cotto in terms of he was just being respectful, and that didn't allow him. And then the Chavez Jr. fight, I think he really was hurting. So again, hurting and stopping someone's two different things. Abel's saying that Canelo doesn't have the power to hurt his man. Stopping him, I don't know. But hurt his man, I don't believe that. I don't. And see, this is the thing that worries me. And I've said this. I made a video about this, a whole separate video about this. Golovkin, he said in an interview, like, I got good genetics. I've never been hurt. I think this was after the Kelbrook fight. And the thing I don't like about that, it sounds cool, like, for a fan, like casual or something. Like, yeah, he's never been hurt. Haha. He's the man. His jaw's made of adamantium. Yeah. It sounds great. But as a real boxing head, I've seen some of the toughest chins from Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Jr. and Sr., Antonio Margarito, Evander Holyfield. Watch Evander Holyfield versus James Lights Out Tony, right? Mike Tyson had a solid chin, and I've seen those chins crumble, right, when they were in there with the right person. Roberto Duran, how can I forget? Watch the Hearns fight. Tommy the Hitman Hearn, and I just met him, and that was like a cool milestone for my career covering boxing. But Hearns versus Duran. Duran was known tough, right? Sugar Ray Leonard stopped him technically, but he didn't stop him like Hearns stopped him. You know what I mean? And I've seen those chins all crumble. So my fear and my worry for Golovkin at age 35 and stuff is, let's say this is true, you've never been hurt in that fight. What if you get in there with someone who's special, like it looks like Canelo might be? You know what I mean? He's definitely elite, but how special we're going to see in this fight. What if he does hurt you? Then how are you going to act? Because I don't already like how Golovkin acts when he gets hit. He just like kind of shells up and covers up and lets you finish. Like, I'm going to let you finish. Are you done? Like Kevin Hart said, are you done? So it sounds cool. Like, oh, I've never been hurt. But my question is, that's actually not a good thing to me. I think getting hurt, not getting knocked out, but getting hurt and waking you up and stuff to the point where you've been hurt, you know how to act, you know how it feels to be hurt in sparring or where your legs aren't fully under you. I think that's kind of imperative because that's going to determine how you react. You watch fights with like even Julian J. Rock Williams, when Charlo hit him with that nasty ass uppercut and jab, but when he hit him with the uppercut, namely the counter uppercut, badly hurt. What did he do? He got up too quick. He got right up. And then all Charlo had to do, being a big dude and big frame, is pile on a couple punches and he tipped right over. That's not how you're supposed, you know what I mean? But he hadn't been there, you know what I mean? He was undefeated, hadn't been in that position before. I don't know about in sparring, but as a pro, he hadn't really had that type of adversity, right? Same thing with, what other fight was I just thinking of? Zab Judah, Costa Zoo. He got up too quick, and he jumped up and his legs looked all crazy, like he just was super drunk. Chicken dance, like Mir Khan, Danny Garcia. You can't get up all fast, and you know what I mean? You have to, basically that's the technique. You have to know how to respond when you're hurt and how to survive and just absorb the minimum amount of punishment. Mayweather versus Pacquiao, he got clipped round 4. Mayweather versus Mosley round 2, he got clipped, but he fought smart. He calmly walked himself to the ropes versus Pacquiao, did the Claude, shelled up, let Pacquiao kind of punch himself out while he blocked shots, stayed calm, didn't overly breathe, and you do all that, you panic, that actually makes it worse. Like, I don't know if any of you guys been scuba diving, but they say if you go scuba diving and stuff, it feels weird, your ears might pop, stuff like that. And when people, the pressurized feeling, some people start panicking, and that's actually worse for you because you start panicking and you're like, it hinders your breathing even more because your adrenaline and stuff like that. I'm not trying to get too deep off in the analogy, but you guys get it. panicking is not good. But Floyd calm, Pacquiao, nothing. And then he recovered, went to his corner. He lost that round, cool. Same thing with Mosley. And Mayweather got hurt twice in round 2 versus Mosley. And then he went on to dominate. So I don't like the fact that Golovkin hasn't been hurt. Or that's so he says. So I don't know. Maybe he's just saying that to keep the episode and he knows what's real. But he looked like he was hurt versus Daniel Jacobs. Not mortally wounded or anything, and Kell Brook, but he looked like he felt those people's punches. Just my thoughts. Drop your opinions, your questions. Also, where should the fight take place? What city you want to see it happening? Drop all that in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.